Happy Thanksgiving, and for Thanksgiving, got an absolutely loaded signal loss for you today.
I mean, these Ohio State fans, they're psychotic about this, man. They all need to go to see a doctor someplace. I'd rather win the national championship than beat Michigan. That's just me.
Ain't nothing, stand out to me personally.
Six, seven.
Yeah, Chiron was on some. I wouldn't mind going back to the computers. Something a little more serious. Yogi Roth had this to say. Drop this clip. I thought it was really important. I like Yogi Roth a lot. I like Yogi Roth a lot. I think one of the things that's cool about like the Big Ten adding schools like USC and Oregon and Washington and UCLA is that you get some of these out west microphones that maybe like a lot of Ohio State fans, a lot of Big Ten fans weren't privy to before, but like now we are, and so. I think he's one of the really good microphones that's really underrated, and I think he does a really good job conveying his point. Also, I also dub him as one of my quarterback experts. Whenever I'm looking for like an opinion on a quarterback, I always kind of look to Yogi Roth and see what he says about him because, understands quarterback development from high school to college to NFL, does a lot of work with Lead 11, big Yogi Roth guy.
I know that the SEC is talented, but I think they should get docked for the sorry schedule we saw over the weekend. I don't think you get praised for having a bye week. I was not into that when Oregon had to play SC and now they go play Washington. If they lose to UW, which they might, Washington's going to be at full strength.
Washington's going to be at full strength, and Oregon is not at full strength. People don't talk about it, but they're down probably 4 of their best 5 linemen. They're also down some of their most expensive pass catchers. Dante Moore has been able to elevate kind of this team around all of that chaos, but Washington is going to be fully healthy, and so it presents a challenge. But on the heels of beating USC, like Dan Lanning seems like he gets teams really hyper-focused, and they take care of teams with equal talent, at least near the end of the year.
I think haven't called the game over the weekend. Damon, Denzel, Jonah, the big 3, like they're going to be loaded. Oregon, the only real passing offense they have seen this year, at least the most intricate, was this past weekend, and USC was able to move the ball a little bit. Jeff Fish is a heck of a play caller. They think they can run the football a little bit. If they lose that game, should they be out? They're not playing Mercer this weekend. I love what Dan Lanning said, Chattanooga, whatever. Like they're not playing anybody like that. I hope that also becomes a character.
Also, great pro setup from him. He's got the little AirPods in. I like that. I prefer the glasses over the AirPods for like additional audio that you want to hear or audio like from the computer that you want to hear. He's got, obviously the background's nice. The microphone's nice. Terry's probably a better editor. He needs to, they need to use more sounds
among the committee.
Than just this one. But shout out Yogi. He does a great job, man. Yogi does a really good job with this kind of thing. So I just thought that was worth the point because he's getting killed right now on the timeline for this take, but he's not wrong. Like he's 100% right here. Saw this, thought it was worth a quick drop because Chip Kelly a year ago obviously was part of the brain that, he was the brain or in the car for the Ohio State run they went on at the end of the year to win a national title, and he obviously just got fired in the NFL. And I did hear like sometimes like he was a little bit like too mad scientisty. Is that a word? Mad scientisty? At Ohio State, but it worked out because obviously when you have freak shows like Jeremiah Smith and all that, it does work out. But I thought this was crazy to hear.
About just the dysfunction of the Raiders offense. There were times I was told where Chip Kelly was repeatedly botching the play calls, where he's supposed to be, for instance, tagging a motion on a play so the receiver's on the left, not the right. He forgets to say it, so Geno Smith is going to the line of scrimmage and going, this doesn't look right, and they're trying to run a play. It happened on a 3rd down in the game the other day. There's times where Chip, I was told on several occasions, called a play that was either not in the game plan or not installed at all. Things like that happen. You're not productive. That's enough. You didn't need any extra excuses.
Damn.
But there were a lot of things that were popping up with.
That's crazy. Now that's either completely checked out, like he's either completely checked out or was completely checked out at the time when that happened, or or he was at a place where unless he just doesn't have it anymore, which I find hard to believe, but it could be the case. Sometimes you lose it. That I thought that was crazy, especially because like again, so closely removed to when he was at Ohio State. I do wonder if we do have staff changes, if they'll look to bring him back. I know that Billy Fessler, who he really trusts, is kind of like an extension of him, even though he was at UCLA for a quick flash. I know that they connected last year at Ohio State, and I know that Billy Fessler's kind of been a super unsung hero in the Ohio State offensive staff room.
What have y'all
been seeing this clip go around? It's funny because people are getting on Jeremiah for not being humble for this, but I just want to play it. I thought it was. I think this is funny. I think this is funny, and it means just generally something to me.
Both seen from them, offense and defense. What do they do special?
I mean, it's Michigan. They run the ball. They got a good quarterback this year, so that'll be a challenge. He has the ability to run and throw, so they got a good scheme. They're a good football team.
I mean, they fly to the ball. I mean, you see everybody, making plays out there, but
So look, Caleb Downs answered that question like a pro's pro. We knew he would. Jeremiah is like hyper confident and has faith in himself beyond belief. And I see Jeremiah's getting killed for this today, even though I don't think it was that bad. But as he's trying to compliment Michigan, Josh is down here giving him that look. Like, bro, that wasn't what you were telling me off camera. That's not what you were saying off camera. But I get what you're doing, but this wasn't what you were saying off camera. He's giving him that look, right?
nothing, he stand out to me personally. I mean, you see everybody, making.
Giving that look. Jeremiah gives 3 or 4 compliments. And then, the question was what stands out?
Plays out there, but I mean, nothing, he stand out to me personally.
He knows. He knows that's gonna get clipped up and people are gonna trip out about it. He also knows.
That's how it's supposed to be, though. You give them their respect, keep it pushing. Like, they solid. They got a good up front, good secondary. Leave it at that. I'm already knowing how it go.
I thought that was great. I love this podcast too. Like I watch it all the time. I listen to it on my way down to Columbus when I drive. But I love those two, and it's funny because people are tripping out about it. I don't think Jeremiah Smith said anything wrong. Like think about it. Like you're Jeremiah Smith. Very few things probably stand out to you. You gave them compliment after compliment, but at least on defense, there's no one on the Michigan defense who should stand out to a Jeremiah Smith figure. I mean, unless you want to go, you can always find a compliment and always find something. But I didn't think that was that big of a deal. But a lot of people, got pretty fired up about it. Hey, guys, happy Thanksgiving. Make sure you leave a like, sub, and a comment while you're here. Appreciate you guys. Going to get you guys back to the video.
The game.
There's been a lot of discourse. I covered it. Joe Klatt said it. The Auburn-Alabama rivalry is nowhere near the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry. Brooks Austin put a thing saying, all you got to do is give Caleb Downs some truth serum if we want to see who the better rivalry is. I think it does pain some SEC people that the best rivalry in their sport, a sport that they claim for themselves, the best rivalry is a Big Ten rivalry, is an up north rivalry, Ohio State, Michigan, and it's not even close. I mean, while Caleb Downs was committed to Alabama, and I believe Justice Haynes was committed to Alabama as well, both of them skipped the Iron Bowl to attend Ohio State, Michigan. And obviously now Justice Haynes is at Michigan, and Alabama can't run the ball, even though Justice is hurt right now, and he's at Michigan. He left Alabama, and then obviously Caleb Downs is at Ohio State, and we've seen some of the struggles that Alabama's had every now and again in the secondary. But those two Alabama commits skipped the Iron Bowl to attend Ohio State, Michigan. I can't think of a time where someone like a Tavian St. Clair or a Devin Sanchez or like a highly rated recruit skip the Michigan-Ohio State game to go to the Iron Bowl. I don't know. It just doesn't exist in my world, and so I think it does bug SEC people that the rivalry is the way it is. And I love hearing Nick Saban talk about it, because here we go. Nick Saban was in the Big Ten, and he was also at Alabama for a long time. We know that.
Do you acknowledge that there is heightened hype maybe from the other side or from fans? Like, how do you kind of address that? Or do you say, all right, we don't care what everybody else thinks. We're trying to win this particular game. How do you?
Coach Saban got that new MacBook that follows your face around. I've seen Dave Portnoy struggle with it. He's moving forward, moving back. Things moving forward and back.
Address that type of stuff with all the noise and hoopla, as AJ would say.
I try to minimize the noise, knowing that the players are hearing all these things. So what I wanted our players to do was think that it's going to be about what we do. So let's focus on what we do to have to go execute and play our best football in the game, and things will take care of themselves.
Rivalry week, obviously, is what we're talking about, trying to alleviate the pressure for rivalry week.
But when I think when you play in these games, especially on the road, which Ohio State's going to do and Alabama's going to do. You have to have resiliency because it's going to be difficult to play on the road, but that difficulty is what creates an opportunity to have a great win. So if you focus on the right things and look at it as an opportunity, and you know, I said it last year. I mean, these Ohio State fans, they're psychotic about this, man. They all need to go to see the doctor someplace. I'd rather win the national championship than beat Michigan. That's just me. All right. Although I'd love to beat Michigan, don't get me wrong. When I was at Ohio State last year, we beat them up there, similar situation, except in reverse. They were ranked really high. We had already lost 2 games. And, you know, we had a terrible negative week of practice, but Woody came and talked to the team and said, this is an opportunity for a great win. And that was the difference in the mindset of how we played. And they played tight, and we played loose, and we played ass over tea kettle and won the game 14-9. And, you know, we had a terrible negative. They all need to go to see it. And, you know, I said it last year.
It's so funny because, like, people like Portnoy will say that, like, Ohio State fans have devalued the game when they haven't. If there's any, like, tidbit of devaluing, it's that you can still lose to Michigan and make it to the Natty. But Ohio State fans themselves have not devalued the game. They still want the game. And even a guy like Nick Saban hears it. That's what this is. This is Nick Saban, like, acknowledging that Ohio State fans almost care about this game too much, which is why I won't ever go down the weird other, like, rhetoric side.
I mean, these Ohio State fans, they're psychotic about this, man. They all need to go to see the doctor someplace. I'd rather win the national championship than beat Michigan. That's just me. All right. Although I'd love to beat Michigan, don't get me wrong. When I was at Ohio State,
See, look, and he's speaking from experience. Like, Nick Saban's the rare case because he was at Ohio State. But, like, you got people like Dave Portnoy. You got people like Dave Portnoy talking about, oh, Ohio State fans don't care about the game, even though that's kind of a narrative that he made up. What's really happened is that the game's been devalued on a probably outside the rivalry because you can lose that game and still make it to the playoffs and win a national title. But within the scope, who the rivalry is for, that rivalry means so much. And this Saturday, it's got a chance to mean even more because, like, Michigan's trying to make up the playoffs. So maybe outside of Ohio State, Michigan, like outside the sphere, who the rivalry is not for, maybe it took a slight tick down, but within the rivalry, it's still the same. And someone like Nick Saban's acknowledging it. Like, people talking about they'd rather beat Michigan than win the Natty. That still exists. I think that's really important.
Last year, we beat them up there, similar situation, except in reverse. They were ranked really high. We had already lost 2 games. And, you know, we had a terrible negative week of practice, but Woody came and talked to the team and said, this is an opportunity for a great win. And that was the difference in the mindset of how we played. And they played tight, and we played loose, and we played ass over tea kettle and won the game 14.
Ass over tea kettle, bro. Saban is such an old man.
14-9. I remember that game from 1981 as much as any.
And that's
what is ass over tea kettle? What does that mean? Good thing we're at a computer. Google.com. What is it? Ass over tea. Sometimes I feel like old people just be making stuff up. Okay. Ass over tea kettle is an informal British American idiom meaning to fall or tumble over in a somersault manner or to move frantically. Okay, they played frantically. Like, maybe this is like hair on fire. Ass over tea kettles, it got to be like hair on fire. Frantic activity. We're working an ass over kettle to get the project done. Okay, hair on fire. There we go. They still be making up that kind of shit, dude. Just making it up. Making it up as they go.
So there's no chance that you're...
All right. More rivalry talk. Got this. Good old Dave. From someone who respects the rivalry to someone that does not respect the rivalry, and good old Dave.
So there's no chance that you're going to let Tate stream with you?
No, he's too... Tate doesn't... He's a psychopath, you know? Like, there's certain people that don't, like... That you come across, you're like, I don't know that this guy even knows where, like, a joke or a line in the sand. He's a true lunatic, so I don't want him.
Crazy Dave calling someone a true lunatic, but it does look like he's ducking smoke. Now, their watch party doesn't matter. Ron and I are hosting a watch party here on Dead Air Sports. Make sure you tap in.
I'm in my orbit. Like, I still go back to unfortunately for him when he said I was trying to sabotage his life because he knew he had a girlfriend, and like I was trying to break them up, and I still don't know what he was talking about. But he was dead serious.
He will be there. He'll be at the game. His Ohio State fandom cracks me up because it's 365.
Like, you can really root for teams without, like, he's somebody like I could see burning down someone's house.
But I also could see it happening and being like, yeah, he was justified. Like, no, Ohio State fans being like, yeah.
Like if Ryan Day loses, he's not beyond burning down Ryan Day's house. Like, he's capable of anything.
So
Dave sucks. Dave saying someone's capable of anything when his best friend is Connor Stallions, the true lunatic, is nuts. Ari and Andy, they've got a show. I don't really watch it that often. I don't find them super entertaining, but I found this fascinating. Just want to go ahead and play the clip.
So I'm going to lay the point here because I think they're the better team. I think Ohio State is up and away the best team in college football this year. And I think that winning – I'm going to lay the point here.
Elite Mike.
Because I think they're the better team. I think Ohio State is up and away the best team in college football this year.
Is this a picture of his laptop and the game? Don't know if that's cool or not.
And I think that winning 34-24 is a cover, or 34-21. It doesn't have to be a blowout. It can be a close, competitive game. But, like, are they not 10 points better? And, like, and I actually believe that Ryan Day has broken the hex.
I disagree with that Ryan Day's broken the hex until we see him actually do it, because I think he's capable of calling plays with his hair on fire and still going back to that tightened up version. Because here we go. I know the playoffs happened last year, but I'd argue that in 2022, 2022, I think. Yeah, 2022, after he lost to Michigan, he called the Georgia game with his hair on fire and looked like he broke the hex. So it's like I kind of hear Ari on that respect. Ari obviously covered Ohio State. But at the same time, like, yeah, it looks like you broke the hex last playoffs, but he's got to go really break it, I guess, against them.
This is where I am with you. I do not think Ryan Day is going to try to win this game in a certain fashion. I think that was the problem last year. They tried to win it the way Michigan would have won it, but who cares?
Dude, totally not listening.
You have better players, use your better players. Now, a couple of your better players are hurt.
Look at that man.
Are you going to get the production out of Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate that you would expect? I think probably so. I think that's probably why they held him out last week. So this is hard.
Gets on phone.
Because I do think with a 10-point spread, I'd be pretty comfortable taking Michigan.
The Kith Paris shirt is hard that Ari has on. Ben got me a Kith Giant shirt that I love.
But I'm going to say the same thing I said last year and was wrong. I think Ohio State just unloads all of it.
I mean, eventually it's going to turn back. So
the thing is, the question is, does it turn back in a close, hard-fought win, or does it turn back? Like, remember that game? I think it was 2018. It was the one where Michigan was favored, and Ohio State just annihilated.
R.I.P. Dwayne, man, one of the all-time greats.
Did them?
Love Dwayne. So Ari thinks they cover, and Andy, they both think they cover, which is fascinating. More from that show a little bit later on, in talking about the cultural playoff rankings that I found fascinating.
Because I know what you're saying, and I understand because I agree with you.
And the reason why
they played a game, their resumes are very similar, and you're taking the team that lost and putting it ahead of the team that won, which doesn't make sense.
And if your reasoning for that is what you're saying, then you're saying what we think will happen in the future, which isn't part of the criteria or what they're supposed to be doing.
It's the hypothetical. It's the hypothetical wins that we always joke about when SEC honks are saying this team would be better than this team.
I'm glad he said it because that's really important. SEC honks love to do the hypothetical games.
Would be all these SEC teams would be better. It's just not an SEC team this time.
This is the first time in 11 years of covering this that I feel like a team is being personally wronged by the committee.
And
I don't say
what
that
makes
lightly.
you so mad, I think, is that it is now dawned on you, and I've been trying to tell you this for weeks. They're not putting Miami ahead of Notre Dame. They're not.
Makes me mad because
there is a data point for this, though. In 2014, Baylor lost to TCU. Or no, TCU lost to Baylor. And they ranked TCU ahead of Baylor until the final ranking came out. And then they ranked TCU 6, Baylor 5, Ohio State 4. But going into that week, TCU was the 4th team, Ohio State was the 5th, number 5, and Baylor was number 6. And so even though TCU won huge last week, because Baylor was within 2 and had the head-to-head, they dropped back TCU 2 slots even after winning by 40 on the final week of the year to kind of honor that head-to-head. So I don't think it's over yet. And I think this might be kind of some short-sightedness because we've seen the committee wait till way late to pull the flip at the end. But I can see the frustration. Honestly, more from Miami fans, but I see it.
I feel like we are all driving out on the street and somebody erased the markers on the road.
Okay, that's fucking dramatic. I'm done with that. That was dramatic as hell. Because we've seen it before, and we saw the committee get it right at the end. And then this was awesome. Link, Jared Spurner, want to give him credit for this one. What an absurd comment to make, pretending like this never happened. Michigan 1, Washington 2, Alabama 3, or Texas 3, Alabama 4, and then undefeated Florida State at 5, which... That is the ultimate case of most deserved versus best. But also with that, something that we don't talk about is that obviously they did so wrong after Florida State got beat to shit right after that. Coaching news. This matters. My family and I are thankful to be at Missouri. The support from our president and board of curators, AD, boosters, and fans is special. Dog, Drink got the extension, the big extension. 6 years, $64 million, and NIL backing. This from TJ Mo. I like this a lot. I've been saying this all year. It makes no sense for coaches to leave when they're highly paid and have the right NIL budget. It used to make sense to go to one of the blue bloods because it was easier to recruit. That does not matter anymore. You can recruit anywhere with NIL. I think Lane stays at Ole Miss too. It actually makes more sense to stay because your job security is much better. Ask James Franklin. Had he produced the same resume at Mizzou, he would have a lifetime contract. Instead, he was fired after a few games. And honestly, same with Lane Kiffin. What James Franklin did at Penn State was better than what Lane Kiffin did at Ole Miss. And now teams are trying to make Lane Kiffin the highest paid coach in the entire sport. Clay Travis. If Lane stays at Ole Miss, LSU and Florida are going to be in a pickle, a huge pickle. It's going to be a mess. I mean, Penn State's already feeling the mess. Penn State's starting to float around these secret candidates, right? You've heard Bob Chesney, you've heard the DeBoer smoke maybe being real. You've heard a lot about these, certain whatevers, but it's a mess at Penn State, I think. Maybe they'll come out on top, but it looks like it's going to get way worse before it gets better. I've seen, I think, what was it, Nick Saban? I want to get it right. It was somebody said that they should go hire Dable, which I think that would play. I think that would be good. But just the list of people that have told Penn State no, and then add Drinkwitz to that list. And now LSU is in a little bit of a tough spot if Ole Miss retains Lane Kiffin, which most insiders think that he is going to go to LSU. Speaking of LSU, former LSU head coach Brian Kelly has received a formal termination letter from the school without cause. Okay, so LSU, obviously lawyers probably met about this at great length because, $54 million was at stake here. And there was the reporting that I did a video on that LSU was going to try to fire him without cause because they never officially fired him. Obviously, it seems like they had no case or else they'd be fighting this. And Brian Kelly is set to receive his full payout. The school states it'll pay the full required buyout over 6 years as long as Kelly meets his obligation to find another job, which is not detailed as well as it should in his contract, as we covered in the last video. BK! This was funny. This is his son.
Long live BK! Long, free my boy! Free my boy BK! You know who?
Something about calling your dad your boy is so funny. And then this from Call the Family. Cancel. You no longer need to work. Love it. I definitely enjoyed that. Other news. I heard this last Thursday that he was being aggressively shopped around. Now, obviously, that could be one of two things. That could mean either shopped around or being tampered with. It does feel like Miami is, poking around to see. A couple weeks ago, you had Sam Levette. A couple weeks ago, you had Lenore Sellers. I think this is Miami trying to get in the fold here. Obviously, like Mason Heinchel's going to see a big payday, but this one's fascinating because there's a little bit more smoke than the other ones. Maybe not as much as the Sam Levette one, but for him, especially, here's the thing: Matt Rule's staying. The development maybe hasn't gone the way that Raiola would have liked. He's injured. When you're injured, you've got a lot of time, and you're alone with your thoughts. His brother decommitted from the school. You got to think that he'll have a suitor, but I'm not sure that leaving Nebraska right now is the great play and like where are you going to go. So just keeping an eye on that. And that'd be, and honestly, like Zach made the guarantee that there's no way that Dylan Raiola plays all 4 years at one school. We're not talking about, he played at 3 different high schools. He was committed to Ohio State, then Georgia, then Nebraska. This was kind of on the wall. Zach said it. Those A last names. This one. Who is this? And writer at On 3, Tom Deinhardt. Key Purdue defensive lineman inks an extension. I have never seen this before. Is this what we're doing now? Announcing college contract extensions. Crazy. I should have figured it was coming at some point, but to see it written and reported from like an On 3 guy throws me off. And it looks like this is on his Instagram. Yeah, there's the Instagram like button. Announcing an extension feels crazy, dude. Thought it was worth a mention. Here we go again. Nate Tice believes that Art should be the top pick in this year's draft if he decides to leave Texas. Would be the number 1 overall pick. This is from November 26, 2025. This is new. This is new. I don't want to play too much of this, but he's picking up steam. He's got the size. I don't think he's going to go this year. I think he's always been a 2-year guy. I think there's a good shot of him maybe being the number 1 guy next year. He should not go this year. Dante Moore, Ty Simpson, and Mendoza will all probably grade out higher unless a team falls in love with the Mannings and the Mannings do their thing. But I don't think he should go this year. It is fascinating. Next year, though. Next year, I think he's got a real shot. Couple quick hits. Frank Gore is officially one of 26 modern-era semifinals for the Hall of Fame class 2026. Love this. This is a great note for people who don't know. Frank Gore tore both ACLs and his meniscus in college and still managed to play the most games as a running back in league history. Let me find that he does not get voted in. Absolutely should be a Hall of Fame running back. Absolutely. I think longevity matters, and I think the scope of which we judge the running backs in should change. Geno Smith apologized for flipping off the fans as he jogged off the field following the Raiders' 24-10 loss in the Browns Week 12. I guess the Browns Week 12. First off, I'd like to apologize, obviously, to the fans, the fan base of Raider Nation. I made a poor judgment out of frustration, and it's not the excuse. He needs to go flip off his offensive line and go flip off his offensive coordinator's office, if that's true about Chip Kelly. But, yeah, it's been bad. I think Oakland's the worst football team I've seen in, not Oakland, my bad, the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Raiders are the worst NFL football team I've seen in the last 3 years. They're horrible. They suck. They're worse than those 0-16 Browns teams. They've got nothing appealing. Their offensive line is abysmal, and Geno Smith's been horrible. But, that offensive line is bad, so it checks out. Love this. I love talking about how agents manipulate things. For those who don't know, I'm a baseball guy. Cover the Yankees for Empire Sports Media. Cody Bellinger is a really good player. Kyle Tucker is a way better player, and Kyle Tucker is, and they're both free agents at the same time, both trying to negotiate contracts. John Heyman, covers, the New York scene and baseball pretty well, said that the Yankees are targeting Cody Bellinger, who is not as good of a player as Kyle Tucker. They're eyeing Tasi Ime, which we know, that's the pitcher, And this is crazy. Kyle Tucker is a backup plan if Cody Bellinger leaves. Nuts. Now, they're both highly coveted, but there's a gap between the two. Kyle Tucker is better than Bellinger, but this is an agent thing. Heyman calling Tucker a backup plan to Bellinger is the most shameless, boorish propaganda ever. This would be like if Prime LeBron and Klay Thompson were both free agents at the same time, and somebody wrote, not Prime LeBron. That's a little bit aggressive. That's like if Dwayne Wade and Klay Thompson, while both, near their peak of powers, were free agents at the same time, and someone said, okay, the plan for the Warriors is to sign Klay Thompson, but their backup plan will be Dwayne Wade if Klay doesn't re-sign. That's what that is. Hilarious, laughable, and that's how agents kind of manipulate things. Wanted to play this.
Trouble, huh?
No, from you. This is good media work from Shador, and then really good media work on the counter from the reporter that asked the question.
But all your supporters out there say that Kevin Stefanski was sabotaging you.
So you just want to start trouble, huh?
No, I want to ask you what your relationship with him is.
To ask the question is absolutely, let me get a headline, let me start some trouble. Shador calls it out. The good flip is, no, I want to allow you the opportunity to tell us about you two and how it's not sabotage. Even though some of the sabotage stuff, a lot of people theorize, came from the Shador camp. This is great work. This is two guys working on the fly really well. Really well.
Yeah, well, what people do outside the building isn't really in my control. It's not in my power, so I don't... Yeah, like I go out there and tell them to do whatever. That's not.
That's like addressing the theory that it was his camp that is talking about that Stefanski sabotaging him.
Nothing I could control or nothing I could do. But overall, I'm just happy to be here. Coach Stefanski, you've been coaching since I got here, and you've been doing a very great job, with everything that's going on.
But what is your relationship like with him?
Doesn't answer the question, so I'm going to come back. Shador, what is your relationship with him?
Him, and when we don't see you guys together?
Definitely like a coach. He tells me what I need to do on and off the field. We've definitely grown. Our relationship and everything has grown, so I'm just thankful to be here.
From you, but...
Good stuff. I like that kind of thing. I like when reporters maneuver that way. But that's what I got. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. I'm going to drop this probably Thanksgiving around 4 or 5 o'clock. Just wanted to get some work done. No days off. And I have a blast. Obviously, thankful for 4,500 subs. I'm excited about it. I got an episode with Tyler coming out tomorrow, an in-person episode. It was kind of fun to do. A little bit awkward, a little bit tough, but we did that. And then, obviously, Saturday, we got a ton of content coming for you guys. But anyway, make sure you like and sub. And I'll catch you guys when I catch you guys.